Today, let's talk about Stratezine in the actual podcast and how it's formatted. Lots of questions on how a podcast actually flows. And I want you to think about it's like perhaps a TV program that will help you understand. And it runs kind of like a newscast, although much more casual in our presentation. So let's go through this. I have side by side here. On the left side, I have some information about the rundown. And on the right is the actual podcast. So let's take a peek. First off, you've been working on your topic. So I have an example here. So if your topic was social media engagement, then you refine your topic, do your research, and then you're working on the individual projects, which we'll talk more in depth later. But this is the overview of the show. The rundown is the blueprint for the podcast. So it's your guiding document. So you'll download that rundown and then you'll fill it in. Now you don't have to change a whole lot because we're going to run the same format. So the show open will always be the same. And I'll give you more information on this, but we'll build these in Google Slides. So you put your videos and your slides all in a Google Slide project. If you see here, what I have in red are things that are live. In other words, they're not pre-recorded. And then you'll see some things here that say video, and those are pre-recorded. So let's take you right through it. So over here is a show open. So our show open would be some sort of graphic like this with some music. And so we'll roll that in. And then there would be the hosts will show up on camera. This is live. We're recording it. You're going to introduce in this segment the question of the day. So you look over here, there's the host, there's the slide for the show open, there's our hosts on camera, there they were right there. And then there's the banner that shows their names. So that's what this information is. That comes from StreamYard. And then the question of the day is a Google slide. So that'll come up full screen and someone will do that for you. You don't have to worry about that. What you have to worry about is making sure these slides are in order with the right content. So there it is. You'll ask the question of the day or let people know what it is. And then, of course, we'll give people the answer later on in our podcast. So you see how that corresponds. So if I click on the next part of the rundown, you'll see a Google slide with video. And this is the person on the street segment. So our hosts back here would have introduced that, the person on the street segment. And so here they are, our hosts, and they're introducing the person on the street segment. So the hosts will have come up with whatever you're going to say to introduce that. And of course, that's collaborative with the people who are working on those. So they'll say something like, question of the day was all about, how to get better engagement. We went out to talk to people on the street to find out what really engages them on social media. And then we'll go to that video. So here's that video. It's a pre-recorded person on the street interview, and that will play automatically in your Google Slides. And so you'll have someone who has recorded that. I'll get more into depth on that later, but whoever is in charge of that will have edited it together, posted the video on your Google Drive, and put it into the Google Slides. Okay, so let's stop that. So you see over here, we've got the person on the street segment. There it is. That was the video. And I didn't put that one in blue, sorry, but that one is pre-recorded. And then our next bit is a segment to introduce our topic segment. This is the one that introduces your topic and gets a little more in-depth into it. So back over here, to our host anchors, they're going to introduce that segment. So that's live on the camera. And then they're going to introduce that segment, which again, someone has pre-produced. They've done some research and they tell us all about whatever your topic is. So if it's social media engagement, they'll have done in depth, and make sure you include your references and your sources. Because remember, we're trying to be a source that's reputable, that gives good information that comes from reputable sources. Okay. So there we go. So they'll introduce this. So our next bit is the pre-recorded topic segment. And I've given you several examples of those, and we can go into that more. But whoever does this one, you'll have written your script, you recorded it, you'll put in some B-roll over the top, similar to what she did here. As talked about her segment, and she put in some graphics here where we're talking about Instagram throttling videos that don't perform well. So you can see how that is. And that was just edited in CapCut or something else like that with some graphics put over the top of the video. Okay, so you look over here, here's the podcast topic segment, the video. We come back out onto camera. So here we are on camera again with our host, and they're going to introduce the interview. And one of the hosts did the interview earlier sometime during the week. So they'll have an introduction, tell about, we brought in Brother Rognan, or James Rognan, who's an expert in social media, and he's going to talk to us more in depth about how to be more engaging on our social media. Then we'll go to the video. So then comes up the video of the interview. And there's the faculty video right there. And so this would be one like this. And you'll see over here, intro, and then the video is pre-recorded. So while that's playing back, the host will sit and watch the video. So you just be there and waiting for this to finish up. Okay, so we're doing this as if it were live, as if we're streaming live. Okay, then let's go to the next bit in our rundown. You'll see we have a tip and tool intro live on camera. So we go back to camera after that interview is done. There's our hosts again, and they're going to introduce the tip and tool. They're going to, with the help of the person who did that, introduce what it's all about. So this particular one was about Reels and how to do Reels for Instagram. So you'll introduce that. Again, you decide what to say, and then we'll go to that segment. This is the segment that's pre-recorded on how to do Reels. Okay. After that one's finished, then we'll come back to our hosts on camera. You'll see over here, then it's the question of the day answer. So we'll have prepared a graphic. It pops up, and the host will talk about the answer to the question of the day. So you'll have written out what you want to say. There you are live, the host on camera. Okay. And there's a Google slide. There it is, question of the day. Then we go back on camera for our last bit, which is a tease with what's going to be on the next episode. So group number 1 will tease group number 2. Group number 2 will tease group number 3. So you'll need to have asked them what they're going to, what's going to be the topic of their podcast, so you can give a little tease about that. Okay. Okay. Then here at the very end, there's a show close. So you decide what you want to say to close out the podcast. And say thanks for watching. Join us again next time for another episode of Stratezine. This is a little bit, so that promo for the episode, it can be a graphic. It could be something that the other group has prepared, whatever it happens to be. So here's the close, again, with the hosts on camera. And this is important. Our show close, we'll have some music running, and we want all the attribution where everything came from for all of the podcasts. So the sources you used. You mentioned them here, put them in the show notes, but you also should have mentioned them in anywhere else where you use that information. Okay. So there we go. That's how it runs forth. Now, this rest of this information here is about how to turn it in. So you'll have created, each individual can create one. You can share a Google Drive. The main part is you need to have a Google Drive that you can turn your stuff into. So make one. So I made one here called Stratezine Group Number 1. Then go ahead and put your stuff, like your rundown, into that folder. Okay. Once it's in that folder, you want to go over and share. And when you share it, make sure that you make it anyone with the link can view it. So don't make it private. Don't restrict it. Copy that link. Then you're going to paste that link in Canvas where it's supposed to go here in the assignment. Okay, I hope that helps you as we run through how it works for our podcast. I'll have more information for each individual assignment, the interview, the person on the street interviews, the segment topic, and the tips and tools. All right, I will see you in class.